Hello and welcome to today's video as we cover the not top 25, the power rankings for Lol Esports. So every team's listed on here, every Worlds qualifying region squad. Any of these teams could technically still go to Worlds. Not many are likely to go, but every one of them could, theoretically. So this is based 100% on stats. I've separated it based on major regions, minor regions. I did not write minor regions on there. The minor regions are Europe, the Americas, and LCP, which is Southeast Asia, Oceania, Japan. Major regions, China and Korea. The stats I utilize are win rate, also a tier system based on how far, like the teams that went to first stand do get a little bit of a boost in a category because of that. And the teams that didn't even make playoffs are rated at the bottom in that category. And that's what makes a team like Faria so crazy in minor region, is because somehow, some way, they are still way up there statistically, but are nerfed in the first place when I start my predictions. I'm at my power rankings because they didn't make playoffs. KC is the opposite. They're buffed because they went to first stand, but yet their stats overcome that and they fall to 15th out of 34. Win rate, kill death ratio, goal difference per minute, kill death difference, tower taken difference, feat of strength percentage, herald percentage, Drake percentage, and Baron percentage. So all these are objectives, and then you have kills. So we try and factor in what teams are doing the right things. And if you look at it really statistically, the best teams are at the top. Like you look at the power. So I've got major region, minor regions, and then the Discord. We had 9 participants. 2 of them screwed up a tad, but I included it anyways. So they only had 24 teams instead of 25. Usually we have around 11 or 12 participants. Participate if you'd like to. But we think about it here, and I mean, there are like 35 teams that got at least one vote. But the top teams, Gen G, HLE, Anyone's Legend, Top Esports, JDG, D+, CFO, Weibo. We take that over there. 7, what? So the only team not up there is BLG, right? Yeah, BLG's 10th here. BLG are 5th there. BLG just made a roster change. We're going to talk about that tomorrow in the roster update video, as 3 teams made moves this week over the last couple days. But regardless, BLG is a team that I think gets nerfed based on opinion because of the expectations BLG had going into the season, being runner-ups at both international events last year. You could argue they were the best team in the world last season altogether. And with that in mind, the expectation would be that they would be better than middle of, 5th to 7th in the LPL. And based on stats, though, to me, they're 3rd. So let's talk about the major regions. So to me, the top 7, 8 teams usually are ones that I'd say these teams could win Worlds. Now, in this case, I could see those top 8 teams winning. D Plus continues to be the one that I kind of have my reservations about because of the young top side, but we have seen in the past young players win Worlds. So Anyone's Legend, despite losing to JDG, beat Wii, beat NIP, and IG over the last 2 weeks. So they've been pretty good. 3-1 is solid. They've been a top team all season long. This includes the entirety of the season. The rules change every 2 weeks. So I'm looking at it like, hey, these teams have been the best ones despite every rule change that's taken place. Gen G moved up a spot. They beat Bro, DNF, DRX, KT. HLE drop a spot despite going undefeated as well. They beat Nongshim twice as the second round robin began this week in LCK. Beat Bro, D+, and BFX. Those teams obviously elite teams. 4th, Top Esports. They move up 2 spots, beating BLG, NIP, FPX, and JDG. So they're doing their job. Obviously a team that gets a lot of domestic buffs. And then we get to BLG. So BLG are 5th. They dropped 1 spot. They have added Bechuan in place of Wei, and they beat Weibo today. After earlier in the week, they actually lost to Weibo as they begin their second time facing some of these teams in the LPL season. So they beat Weibo today and beat NIP earlier on in this 2-week window. But also, like I said, lost to Weibo, lost to Top Esports, and lost to FPX. The FPX loss is ugly because statistically, FPX to me are 20th still out of these major regions because they've not been very good for the majority of the season. They've swapped out junglers, shadows on the team, and they have been better, I assume, as well. And the AD carry role is better than Bat, but the team, is a young team, and it's, I guess, what I should say is it should continue to improve, but I think it's also riding a high, kind of like Team We did the week prior. FPX, hell, is ranked 13th on the Discord. I would not put FPX in my top 25 myself. And this is based on if these teams played a best of 5 right now, not best of 1, a best of 5 in a neutral setting. We have JDG moving up a couple spots. Anyone's Legend beat Thunder Talk twice, so those wins they should get. Lost to Weibo Top Esports. Well, actually, the Anyone's Legend win was a nice one. The Thunder Talk wins are ones they're supposed to get. Weibo and Top Esports, those are teams around them in the standings, right? So Weibo are below them still because Weibo have had a long season and JDG have outperformed them over the entirety. But they're closely matched, right? Like I said, I think those 8 teams could win Worlds, and that's very meta dependent. 7th, dropping 2 spots, D+, beat DRX, but lost to T1, HLE, and Nongshim. And Nongshim's significant because you see they're 9th on there. Nongshim is the team that is just continues to just keep pounding away. They're getting better. Calyx is in mid lane, and he has improved. He's better than Fisher. And I think a lot of people could have thought that going into the season. Fisher deserved an opportunity, though. His career has been one that's been all over the place and not really been, he's not been given a foundation to really grow off of. But Calyx has made that team better. And despite losing today, Nongshim are a team that I am, Calyx is a fun player. He really is. So D+, beat DRX, lost to T1, HLE, Nongshim. Weibo beat JDG, beat IG twice, split with BLG, but the loss to Team We is puzzling. Team We still 21st. It's funny. So, I'm not talking about every single team. Talk about the top 8, and then we talk about a choice others. But FPX and Team We moving up only 1 spot each. You say, but look at how good they did. And I will say, I do not have in my tier system really a good way to properly buff the teams that are in the LPL upper group versus the ones in the bottom group. That's why the bottom group ones, 13 through 15, are ranked above Thunder Talk, FPX, and Team We. And theoretically, I think those 6 teams, you could say, are pretty interchangeable. If you look at the entirety of the season, maybe right now you'd say, well, FPX beats all of them. Team We beats all of them. Yeah, but look at the entirety of the season, not just what we fucking feel like today. So that's kind of the way I'm viewing that. So they only move up 1 spot because statistically they were terrible for all of winter, pretty much. Other notables, IG dropping, what do I have here? 3 spots to 10th. So they drop out of that top 8. They beat Team We, but lost to Weibo twice in Anyone's Legend. The Weibo losses are not good. IG needs to split with Weibo. Then we go to EDG. They move up 3 spots in 13th. They beat OMG, LGD, lost to Ultra Prime. We have LGD going and beating RNG, losing to EDG in 14th. As those 2 teams try and keep their seasons alive. Bro dropped 4 spots to 18th despite beating T1, which was an upset to me. They lost to Genji HLE. Those are expected losses, but the loss to DRX, I predicted them to beat DRX. And they lost. I did not expect the jungle change at the time I made the prediction, nor the 80 carry swap for DRX. The 80 carry swap for DRX would not have made me think DRX was going to win. I mean, honestly, I'm going to say I didn't expect those, but I also don't think that those would have made me feel any differently. Prediction-wise, I mean, bro, just don't make any sense to me. Why the fuck is Krakow even signed to that team? Krakow could improve. Let's see here. Looking at these teams. Krakow could improve NIP. He could improve EDG, LGD. Nayu's pretty damn good. I'm fine with Nayu. Depending on what you want, Ultra Prime, Thunder Talk, now Thunder Talk, best one being out. Bro, BFX, FPX. Monkey is an interesting player. Maybe I would keep Monkey over Krakow. But then like DRX, LNG, RNG, OMG, DNF, I would take Krakow over all of those guys. But instead, Krakow's riding the pine like third string on Bro. It makes no sense. LNG, they move up 3 spots from the basement because they made a jungle change. Zhao Feng is in there. And although I just said Krakow's better than Zhao Feng is still making the team better than what they were with Wei Wei and STS. LNG beat Ultra Prime, OMG, RNG to get out of the basement. Minor regions. So, FlyQuest continue to top the charts. Despite losing to C9, they have built a lot of goodwill so far this season, statistically. Beating Lion Gaming, Dignitas 100 Thieves as well the last 2 weeks. Cloud9 is obviously a big mover, moving up 6 spots to second as they went undefeated, beating Disguise, TL, FlyQuest, and Lion Gaming themselves. CFO start the LCP spring mid-season, beating Talon and MKVE. Fnatic moved up 2 spots in the LEC, the top team there, beating Rogue and G2, but losing to Koi. So that's obviously not great, but Koi also lost, so they're 5th, dropped 1 spot. Fnatic, despite losing to Koi, statistically leapfrogs them, because Koi beat Fnatic Giant X, but lost to Vitality, I believe, 2-0, and that's not great. Losing to Vitality 2-0 is an ugly loss. Top LTA South team is now Pain Gaming as Faria relinquishes that spot that they've held since the second power rankings I did this season. Pain moved up 11 spots. They're the biggest mover outright of any team. They beat Fluxo, Vivo Keyed Stars, and Leviton twice as the second half of LTA the LTA season began this past weekend. They're playing best of 3s. So they beat Leviton in a best of 1 and then in a best of 3. Faria dropped 2 spots as they beat Red, Vivo, Keyed Stars, and Loud, but then I believe their loss to Loud was in the best of 3, where they think they took a game, so split 2-2, but Loud is 19th. That's not a great situation to find yourselves in. Talon in 8th, beat Chief Esports Club, lost to CFO 2-1. I mean, they're the team that right alongside CFO is the team that I expect to win LCP. Based on how the Vietnamese teams have done so far and the roster changes they're making, it's not looking too great for me. Other notables, G2 went 0-3, so they dropped 8 spots from 2nd all the way to 10th. Very rough 3 series. Losing to BDS is not great. Losing to Giant X is also not great at all. Losing to Fnatic, losing to Fnatic is what it is. But the other 2 losses, no, that's not acceptable. So G2 are falling like a stone. And then right here, you got BDS and KC right next to each other. They're not moving all that much. Those 3 teams, BDS, KC, and GAM, everyone's moving around them, and they continue to just kind of sit there statistically. It's really something. Vivo Key Stars dropped 5 spots to 17th. They beat Isurus, but lost to Leviton, Faria, and Pain. So, that's a situation where now we have 17th through 20th, 4 LTA South teams, statistically, which makes me think, really, it's anyone's ball game for 3rd place in LTA South. Right now, it's Pain and Faria, and then 4 teams of Vivo Keyed Stars, Red, Loud, and Leviton to take that next spot, because Isurus Astrals, the bottom's falling out on them. We'll talk about them in a moment. But Leviton in 4th beat Vivo Keyed Stars, Isurus Astral, but like we said earlier, lost to Pain twice in a best of 1 and then a best of 3. We got 3 LEC teams, Vitality, Giant X, and Heretics, 3 in a row. And in the case of Heretics, they beat Vitality and SK, but in terms of the entirety of the season thus far, they rank 3rd of those 3. And that's kind of a battle for what? 5th in the LEC? 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, might have been 6th. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, yeah. Battle for 6th. Yeah, that's right, Koi's up there. So that's a thing. Isras Astral, 24th, dropping 3 spots. Beat Red, lost to Loud, Leviton, Vivo Stars. I thought bringing Summit out of retirement would make that team just even better, and it did the opposite. They were better with Birdall in there, which is crazy to fucking think. Crazy. Lion Gaming dropped 8 spots. As you know, I had a Lion Gaming fan. They were very boisterous. They did not hide that they thought Lion Gaming was a top 3 team in the LTA North because they were playing so well. But once Lion Gaming started losing, that person has not commented anymore. You know, it's an interesting conundrum you end up with when, you know, Lion Gaming now played Fly, 100 Thieves, Cloud9, and Team Liquid. The 4 teams you'd consider to be the 4 best teams in LTA North on paper, and losing to all of them, yeah, Lion Gaming could be 5th. And honestly, I think I predicted them to beat TL, and they didn't. There you go. They are where they should be. Saints really good, but they lack in other areas for sure. So Lion Gaming dropped to 26th, dropping 8 spots because they lost all those games, and well, that's where the 5th place team in LTA North actually sits. Who else? Dignitas moved up 3 spots, beating Shopify and Disguised, lost to 100 Thieves and FlyQuest. And then SK Gaming dropped 4 spots despite losing Isma. Everyone said Isma was the problem. Let Rahel go. Look at where, well, not playing Rahel. I think he's still under contract. 10th in the LEC. Great work. That is great work. Isma was definitely the problem. They are better after that decision. Beating Rogue and Heretics, right? That is for sure. They made a great move. So, yeah, I mean, the best teams are at the top. Statistically, you have a couple teams that are outliers. The ones that you say, why are they where they are? Well, there are cases where if a team does good statistically and aren't getting the wins, well, eventually you keep doing good things, you're going to get wins. If you keep doing bad things, eventually you're going to find losses, at least in my opinion. So thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.